Hi everyone, I'm Gaurav Singh and today we are going to discuss about SOAP and REST web services. For any developer, it is important to know what are the benefits of each one of them so that they can reaches to a conclusion that which one they should use while doing any kind of system integration. uh, there are companies using different kind of systems, and the companies want all those systems to talk to each other so that the data and the information can be exchanged, and there could be a synchronized effort to make the things streamly and comfortable for each departments. So I'm coming to my next slide. We have two sources which we most of the developers use while doing the integrations. The first is SOAP and the second one is REST. So in the case of SOAP, as you can understand or from the name itself, it's a protocol. So the full form of this is Simple Object Access Protocol, and we have another service called REST, Representation State Transfer. So what's the difference between these two? So SOAP, as I said in the beginning or outside itself, it's a protocol. So opposite to REST, which is a kind of a architectural style of mechanisms to access the system, SOAP is a protocol. Now in the case of SOAP, there is a WSDL file which you get from the system which you like to access. So in the case of SOAP, you get the WSDL, and you have to make the changes in the WSDL so that you can accommodate your main requirement. So but again, WSDL is system generated, so it's kind of already typed file you get, and once you consume that WSDL, it will be converted into classes or some in the format. Through that you can access the another system. In the case of REST, it's a unifying service locator to access the component of the hardware device. The main important one, the most important one, I would say, the difference between these two: SOAP consume a lot of bandwidth because the response, when you send a request in the form of SOAP and get the response is quite lengthy. And in the case of REST, it is kind of very simple and kind of encapsulated in very few words or few lines. So let me give you one example here. Now if I like to get a one information from some other system, for example there is a city and I like to get that city information from some other system, and for the same purpose I am using SOAP and REST. The response I'll get in the case of REST may be in the form of city equal to Mumbai, but in the case of SOAP the response will be very lengthy. The response would be like there are multiple lines which is kind of defining the kind of operations the SOAP has done, like authentications, and then the path is it's defined. So that's a big difference in a way. When you like to simplify things and the bandwidth issue is there, then you should definitely choose SOAP over the definitely choose REST over SOAP, because SOAP response is very lengthy. Other differences, like SOAP can only work with XML format. Now here is a main another constraint of SOAP, that it can be work with XML only, whereas in the case of REST it works with HTML, XML, JSON in all these formats. Another big disadvantage of SOAP can't use REST because it's a protocol. So if you like to use SOAP and call the REST service, you can't do it, but the other way around can be possible. REST can use the SOAP web service. Which one you should go for? So as I said in the beginning itself, the bandwidth is very important concern and very important criteria while choosing which service you should choose. Another one is a stateless. If there is no need to maintain the state, right, I think REST is a very good choice. But if you like to maintain the state, then the SOAP is the best option. So for example, I'll give you a real example here. When you visit any e-commerce site, you visit that site, select some product from that site, put those products in the cart, and then you go to the payment gateway. So while passing the information from this e-commerce site to that payment site, you require a lot of information exchange. Maybe you are sending the amount, what amount that payment side will gonna charge, plus that side has to, the payment side has to respond to the e-commerce side whether the payment has processed or not. So it's not a stateless transfer, it's a state, it's maintaining a state. While you are doing this, you are maintaining a state. So in this kind of situation, you must go for SOAP. And again, it's very kind of secure, so there is no security issue. Now there is another advantage of REST, I would say, is the caching. Now for example, you have to send a lot of requests to the server to get the informations. The multiple times you are interacting with the servers to getting the same kind of informations. Now how you can avoid it? Now in the case of REST, you can save that information in the cache, and whenever you require that information, you get it from the cache rather going to the server. So what will happen in this case, when you go to check that information in the cache, and if you find it, you retrieve that information and give it to the user. If you are not finding that information in the cache, you will get the server, you will go to the server and get that information, and then you process that information to the users. So that's another advantage of REST. Coding part, in the case of SOAP, it's little hard to understand it and do the coding things. It's little cumbersome compared to REST, and REST is very simple and very easy, so that's another advantage. Now in the case of SOAP, asynchronous processing and subsequent invocation, a formal means of communications. So here when you read the first point, it simply means it's much more secure compared to REST. So REST is less secure compared to SOAP because it's a protocol and it has a lot of procedures, lot of checks and balances which maintain that the security would be maintained. Stateful operations, I have already given you the example of stateful operations. So if you like to maintain the state, for example, for doing some processing, you require a response from some other process. So it's a kind of stateful transfer, stateful operations, and for this kind of operations you should choose SOAP. Lack of security and lack of state, these are the two disadvantages of REST. I think this presentation will give you a little bit idea that which one you should choose. I try to encapsulate all the things which I have in my mind through in this presentation, so that I give you a little high level idea which one you should go for. Again, for detailed things you can definitely visit some other sites and get the information from there, but at a high level view you definitely get from these presentations, and I hope this will able to help you to determine which one you should choose. So thanks guys, stay tuned, and thanks for watching. We'll talk to you on some other topic some other day. Thanks.